to the Inclusive Health Podcast, where everyone belongs and every story matters. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, owner and practitioner at Inclusive Health. I'm here to help you navigate healthcare with more clarity, compassion, and confidence. This podcast is designed and produced by Tatum Dodd of Oddfellow Creative. Each week, we'll break down myths, focus on various health topics, answer your questions, and share real, inclusive conversations that support your wellness journey. Thanks for joining. Hello, welcome back to Inclusive Health. My name is Jay Stevens. I'm a nurse practitioner with Inclusive Health. This is our story with Rima today, talking about her kidney disease and need for a kidney transplant. We also have Tiffany here today, who has donated a kidney.
Well, thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Jay.
Our last episode, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, my name is Rima Tanner. I do have chronic kidney disease and learned this thanks to Jay Stevens. He is my PCP and he's worked with me over the past year since learning that I have CKD. My renal function has dwindled and now I'm in need of a kidney transplant and I'm seeking a living donor. Just so happens that my best friend, Tiffany Drake, was preparing to give her father a kidney when I was learning that I needed one. Tiffany and I have been friends for almost 20 years. And for this to happen in such a coinciding manner was not only alarming, but just kind of kismet. It really shows that we belong in each other's lives. She has been my support person and I have been hers. We want to talk a little bit about transplant journey so you all understand the requirements, finding hospitals and network, evaluations, and then hear Tiffany's story and what she went through in her journey. You want to go into your story?
Well, it is true. I indeed shared my spare, as they say. I think it was May 2024. We received the word that my dad was at 5% kidney function and that he would have to go on dialysis. We weren't even sure that he'd be healthy enough to receive a kidney transplant at that point. So it took a couple months and going back and forth. The recipients have to do their testing to make sure they're healthy enough to receive a kidney before they take another kidney out of someone else to give to them. It was about July 21st or 22nd. I remember that day because that's the day I came and saw Jace to start getting healthy enough to donate the kidney to my father. He helped me out a lot with getting healthy enough to do that.
What were the requirements for you to be a candidate to donate your kidney?
Well, there's a whole page you have to fill out for Vanderbilt, and they will let you know right away when you click a button that they decide is not good enough to donate a kidney. The form stops right there. I was the only one that filled out the form for my dad that made it through the entire form. I was concerned with blood pressure issues. You have to have good blood pressure. I was a smoker at the time, so I decided to quit smoking and lose weight to lower my blood pressure, and it worked within a week of doing so. If you're on blood pressure medicine, they will not allow you to be a donor. You just have to be in good health in general. Any heart problems, they're not going to accept you. Vanderbilt is very thorough. They do not want to get down the road and have a problem with the donor and them needing a kidney in the future. That being said, if you do ever need a kidney from some freak accident, you get a kidney. You don't wait. You automatically receive a kidney. You go to the top of the list. I think that's important for potential donors to know because it is a fear that creeps in. Vanderbilt has never had a donor need a kidney.
What testing did you go through once you were accepted as a candidate?
You go through a mental evaluation to make sure you're not being forced into doing it, not being paid, stuff such as that. They call you and set up 2 days of testing. It's really 1 day of testing. I have diabetes in my family. I had to do a 2-hour glucose test. So it just depends on what your health history is. But I know they will check your GFR, your MGFR, which is going to tell them exactly what your kidney function is versus the estimates with the EGFR, which I'm sure y'all have already discussed. That is the first test they do. I did the nuclear test. They put this dye in you, then you go back and they take your blood. Then they're like, come back in 30 minutes. So I roamed around for 30 minutes and it's a process. They take your blood about 3 or 4 times after that, and they do a chest x-ray, make sure no cancer. Basically, what they're checking you for is no cancer. They want to make sure you do not have cancer and your kidneys are good.
Did you have to have a colonoscopy or something?
I did not have to have a colonoscopy. I think for a certain age you do, and maybe men in particular. But for women, I know you have to have a mammogram and a pap smear to rule out any of those types of cancers, in which you have to schedule on your own. They're not going to schedule that for you because most women have their own OBGYN or gynecologist that they are to go to. After the x-rays, you have to do a CAT scan with the dye contrast, which is a very fun experience. It kind of feels like you're peeing on yourself, but trust that you are not. Well, maybe, I don't know. And after that, you're done for the day and you get to sit there and watch all these results come in, which is a lot of fun. The next day you do a blood test. They take, I think it was like 21 or 22 vials of blood. That was a lot, especially for someone like me who doesn't like blood. Then you meet with all your doctors. You meet with the nephrologist. He goes over everything in that spectrum with you. And then you meet with the surgeon. She goes over her stuff with you, examines you, and makes sure you're okay to have the surgery. And you have an EKG. And then you're done. And you wait to see what the doctors say. They are so thorough. One of my tests was off a little bit, and I had to get checked to make sure I didn't have lupus, which was a really fun time. I had to go back and do another test. They're going to make sure that you're safe. Most importantly, in donating this kidney, that is their number one priority with donors. It is a lot of testing, but in the long run, it's so worth it. And also, you get a free health exam. So
Bonus.
You didn't pay for any of this, did
you don't pay for anything except mammogram or OBGYN appointments, which
Sure.
you usually get one of those free a year anyways.
As part of your annual screening.
And it's not like something you have to do again. If you've already done that for the year, you're good. As long as your results are back and they know you're safe to do this, right? It's not like a double up. You're not doubling up on anything. All of your fees and all of your testing, surgery is paid by the recipient through their insurance. That's a myth we need to bust right now, is that these things are not out of pocket. The donor is treated with the utmost care as well as financially.
Yeah.
There are rights. There are federal guidelines and rights for donors as well. Their jobs cannot discriminate against them for time lost at their jobs. There's funding and grants for them. There's so much information out there, and we'll give you more of that information in our resources page at the end.
What was your surgery and recovery like while you're in the hospital, and how long did it take you to be discharged?
Surgery, you get there at like 5 a.m. and they call you back and get you ready and get you all set up with everything.
And your dad, did y'all get there at the same time?
He came at the same time to be there with me, but I think they scheduled him like 30 minutes after. So no, we're not in the same room, because a lot of these donors want to be anonymous. They don't want the recipient to know who it is.
So you are both under anesthesia at the same time.
Yeah, they got me in the operating room and on the table. Another reason they do it separately is to give you every opportunity to say, hey, I don't want to do this, if you don't want to do it.
You could say no right up.
You
until
can say
time
no
putting it on the
right
table.
when they're putting that mask on.
You can change your mind.
You can change your mind, you know, because it is a big decision. It's one I've never regretted or never will. But they put you on the table and good night. I think I was in there for how many hours
You were in there for about 2 hours before they took your dad back.
before they took my dad back? They go in laparoscopic. They cut your kidney and tie off your veins so you're not bleeding out.
Laparoscopic is where they put a gas into your abdomen and it kind of raises your skin away from your organs. So it's a faster recovery, less pain recovery, and it's smaller incisions.
Once they have the kidney cut off from your body, they make about a 4-inch to 5-inch incision right below your belly button. They remove the kidney with the hand and pull out the kidney. That is the only reason you have a large incision at all. They just want to make sure they're protecting the kidney. From there, they take it out, and I guess that's when they start prepping my dad, because they have to sew veins and whatnot to match to go into his body. And then they insert it in, my dad, and I guess it starts working immediately for the living donor kidney. Before they even got him sewed up, he was making urine again. It's an incredible process, for sure.
It's also got a 90 to 95% positivity rate. It's a very high rate of success.
Afterwards, it took them a while to get me to wake up. I was really enjoying that sleep. I remember coming off the elevator and seeing my family. I started singing Taste the Biscuits. They got me rolled to my room, and they did not lift me and put me in my bed. They want you to walk as soon as possible after getting your kidney removed.
That decreases risk for blood clots, pneumonia, and complications from
And
surgery.
honestly, it's going to make you feel better. The more I walked, the better I felt. So you get up out of your bed and you walk to your new bed. And at that point, you realize, hey, I really am okay. They give you lots of Jello and lots of, we'll call it miso soup.
You're on a clear diet.
It takes your stomach a little bit to wake up. It takes your body a little bit to wake up from anesthesia like that. I think it was a couple hours after that, my dad was out, and I actually was able to walk and see him later on that evening. I walked to his room, which was across the floor. It was a really special time.
As far as your recovery and your pain, I saw you shortly thereafter and you're up moving around. I would never know you had this major surgery. How was that as far as the pain and recovery part?
It's hard for me to sit still to begin with. As soon as I could get up, I knew I could get up and walk. I was making my laps in the hospital. When you go in for the evaluation and everything, they're going to tell you 3 days you're going to be in the hospital. And then when you meet the surgeon, they're going to tell you 2 days you're going to be in the hospital. But when you actually have the surgery, they're like, we'll probably let you go tomorrow. So I had the option to leave the next day. I decided to stay because if you want to stay, you can ask them to stay another night. I could be with my family, who once I left the hospital, it's not like they're going to come visit me and I can't really go visit them. But also so I could be on the IV pain meds, which I think was just Tylenol, honestly. I was not in a lot of pain at all.
Did you have to take any pain medicine when you went home?
Tylenol and muscle relaxers, but I think I was off those after the first week. They sent me home with some pain medication, but I took it once and I was like, I don't need this, and never took it again.
I've heard a lot of people that have laparoscopic surgery, they say more pain is from that gas that kind of goes up to your shoulder.
Yes, that's what I've heard is the most painful part about it. It wasn't for me because I was, again, the more you walk, the more that's going to dissipate. Mine came out as burps. That was a little painful because I've just had surgery on my abdomen. That was a little painful. But honestly, my incision was numb and still is a little numb. I might get it back at some point. I might not. I don't really care. But I think that helped a lot with not having any pain. Actually, I had to be a little bit more careful because I'm not feeling any pain when I'm bending down, or I think I even squatted down to pick something up in the floor 3 days after the surgery, which I was like, oh, I probably should have done that, but I didn't. It wasn't painful.
There was no stopping her. She was trying to make her dinner. She was, taking care of her dog, going outside. I couldn't keep up with her. I was the one who was supposed to be taking care of her while her mother was taking care of her dad. This happened in December of 2024.
Yeah. Friday, I went to Opry Mills and did some Christmas shopping. I didn't lift anything over 5 pounds, though. My doctors are watching. You are not supposed to lift anything over 5 pounds. Some other places will tell you 10 pounds. Vanderbilt says 5 pounds. Be safe, because even though you were cut horizontal on the outside, inside you were cut vertically. It makes it easy to get hernias, and you don't want one of those. That's another surgery. You can't lift anything over 5 pounds for 6 weeks, which my dog is 17 pounds, so it was a little rough on me. I was up at Opry Mills just walking, doing my Christmas shopping a week after the surgery.
Can you do all the things that you did before the transplant? Do you have any limitations?
I did have to end my MMA career. I can't get at the octagon anymore. I can't allow someone to kick me in the kidney. Other than that, I can do anything that I want to do that I did do beforehand, except smoke, which you just shouldn't do anyways.
Once you quit, don't pick it back up.
Don't do it.
You can have a baby 6 weeks after if you want to get pregnant.
You can have
a child.
some of the stuff that people have asked me about. Can I have a kid afterwards? Yeah. 6 weeks. They want you to wait to get pregnant, like any surgery. Sports, you can play. There's nothing I can't do now that I couldn't do before.
It's really good to know. There's a lot of misnomers out there, so thank you for clearing that up.
Would you recommend anyone else doing this?
I'd recommend everyone to do it. We could save how many people? 105,000
There's 125,000 people waiting for kidneys
on the list. It's safe. My kidney is already growing. They tested my EGFR before I left the hospital. It was at 52. At 6 weeks, it was at 58. 6-month checkup, it was at 61 or 62. So it is growing. Hopefully it'll get back in the 70s or 80s, but if not, it's still okay. I'm just as fine as I've ever been. It's important to keep an okay diet. Don't give yourself diabetes and don't go entering steak challenges, stuff like that, stuff that's hard on your kidneys. But I still enjoy steaks, lots of meat, cakes and cookies in moderation, everything in moderation, including moderation. Beers, I love a good beer. The only thing I can't do is smoke cigarettes anymore, in which actually I could, but blood pressure wise, I don't. And also, I can't afford it anymore.
Well, you're certainly a hero.
Thank you. I don't
Yes.
really think about it like that because it was never a question of if I was going to do this for my dad.
How's your dad doing?
Oh, he's fantastic. He's back to work. I'm fussing on him to take it easy, but he is just full steam ahead. Feels great.
Was he on dialysis
He
before?
was on dialysis. I don't think he would have lasted much longer just because he has heart problems. He had strokes, triple bypass, and heart attacks and stuff like that. So his heart was in bad shape. So dialysis was really hard on him.
So did he have like a AV fistula in his arm? And
He
have to
had
be,
he
going
had
to
the port up here, but then he was going to switch the at-home dialysis, and then the port goes in your stomach. So he had 2 ports at the time of the surgery. They left him in a couple days after the transplant to make sure everything was going well, and then they took him out and sewed him up.
So when he was going for dialysis, that's a 3-day-a-week, 4-hour ordeal per
Yes,
day.
it really took it out of him. Everybody responds differently to dialysis. But for him, it just really wiped him out with his heart conditions. It was really hard.
Probably
for him.
mentally too, depressed.
He lives to work, and since he could not do that anymore, he was a shell of what he used to be.
So he's kind of back to his old self now.
Yes, he's hit the ground running, and his jokes are too dirty to be dad jokes, though.
Good for him to tell the dirty dad jokes.
But yeah, he's doing great. His creatinine was 1.22, which is great. Last time it was checked.
Mine's at
So-
4 currently, which is actually low for my kidney function comparatively. His was high before. And
like 8 or 9. It's incredible how it happens, how it works so quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing. What advice would you give to any potential donors or recipients?
Do your research. Know that it's not like the movies. It's not like the TV shows. It's safer than they make it out to be. It's actually easier to match than you would think. Even if you don't match, Vanderbilt has this wonderful program where you can donate on behalf of someone and do a kidney swap. You save a lot of lives doing that because it creates a domino effect. So check that program out.
exchange program.
And just know that not a lot of people get to actually save someone's life. Unless you're a firefighter or a police officer or something like that, there's not a lot of opportunities where you're literally going to save someone's life. And that's what you do when you donate a kidney. You are saving someone's life. And, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but it's true. I will say the whole process, I have a little touch of anxiety. The hardest thing out of everything was the nervousness, the waiting for test results, like just the anticipation, am I going to be able to do this? Or is something going to be wrong with me? That is a little nerve wracking when you have a team of Vanderbilt doctors searching for something to be wrong with you. So just hang in there. No, that is the hardest part for most. The reward at the end is more than you can ever imagine. Having a loved one, or even if it's someone you don't know, saving a life and being a part of that. So yeah.
Well, we really thank you for being here and
Well,
telling
thank
your
you for
story.
having me.
I don't think anybody has actually heard all of this except for me,
Yeah. Well, it was kind of bittersweet. It was hard for me to talk about afterwards because I woke up from giving my kidney to be in the same exact position with someone I love needing a kidney. So it is a kind of sensitive subject because I don't have another one. I've tried growing another one and I don't have another one, and they won't let me give the one I have left. So it's hard. And all I know to do is let people know how safe it is. People know how the recovery is and how okay I am, and go to the ends of the earth to find you a kidney.
Thank you. We talked about a lot, and what this journey is, seeing her do this while I've been learning about my own health. I didn't tell anybody that I was going through this. A handful of people knew because I didn't want to take the spotlight from her. She just done something that very few people are willing to do. And I felt like she really deserved the credit, and she earned it because I watched her go through every aspect of this, from quitting smoking. And this person smoked a pack and a half plus a day. She was out walking twice a day around her neighborhood. every single thing from her diet to everything changed so she could prepare to do this and be eligible to do it because she believed she had more faith than anyone I've ever seen. I really want you to know how much I respect you.
Thank you. I will say that donating kidney probably saved my life because it made me quit smoking. It made me take a look at what I was doing in my life health-wise. And even though I didn't have to do any of those things to donate, I chose to because I wanted to be healthier and I wanted to make sure that I could get my dad a kidney because I knew no one else could.
And you've continued on that healthy journey.
Yes, I have added a few more cakes to my diet.
Gotta live and enjoy life.
Yeah.
I tell all my patients.
Yeah, I started back walking and it feels good. So, in turn, giving a kidney probably saved my life.
Hopefully we can appeal to other people to consider this. And we're here. If you ever have any questions, we can give out our information where you can contact us or you can contact Inclusive Health. Jace is the man with all of the answers. He
If I
saved my
don't
life.
have an answer, I will try to find an answer.
Exactly. You're amazing at this. And I appreciate you. Both of these folks have been so imperative in my life. I don't know how I would have handled all of this if I didn't have the support that I have. I feel like more people need someone like Jace in their life because doctors don't care. I'm not trying to be rude, but they have so many patients. They have so many things that they have to do. And I'm sure there's some kind of cutoff where they cannot be emotional about these things. Having Jace call me on Saturday or contact me late at night and say, hey, I found this out. I wanted to tell you before tomorrow. I need you to know now. That is very rare. So I just can't tell you how fortunate I am. Thank you. All right. Next time, what are we doing? I think we're doing some diet and lifestyle next time. Living with kidney stones, living with renal disease, and how to help yourself stay alive. So that's what we'll do next. Stay tuned. Come back to us.
Share your spare.
Thank you.